Good morning, it's Leanne Peters here. I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube. And I am here to pull some cards for this week. That's this week starting the 1st of February through to Sunday the 7th of February. So I want to send out an extra special welcome to my Temple of Balance patrons, my Pillar of Light family, and all of those of you who support my work through my website. Thank you so much for your support. So welcome. If you're new to watching, welcome. What I'm going to be doing is using my combined Speed of Light Oracle cards with my Animal Kingdom Oracle cards, and I'll be using this combined deck of 110 cards to find the best cards for this week ahead. I'm not pulling cards for individuals, so this is general guidance for everyone, and I trust 100% that you've been led here for a reason. So please remember that this is a guide only. Please take on board what feels right, what resonates, and what fits into your life easily, and let the rest go. So if it doesn't make sense, right now at least it doesn't matter, just take on those parts that do make sense. Because this is a future reading, there might be some things that don't make, quite a few things that don't make sense right now. So I recommend that you come back and connect with the guidance throughout the week, just to get your bearings and remind yourself of things that can be quite interesting. I often come back and connect with the cards for the week, just to remind myself of what came up, and it's pretty much always on point, so it can be pretty interesting to get the perspective of the cards to help guide us through our life or through our week. So it's the 1st of February here. I'm coming to you live from Tasmania, Australia. It is Monday the 1st of February at 10:26 a.m. So good morning. Welcome everybody. Let's get started. So I'll be laying the cards out in an intuitive way, and then I'm going to share with you what those cards are and what I'm picking up intuitively. I will show you the cards as I go, and we'll talk about them. We'll see what happens. Just a reminder while I'm shuffling the cards, last week's theme, you might remember, was the penguins, which the penguins' message was an unbreakable bond. So a connection and the support that we can feel from a connection with another special person who may not be with us right now in the physical. They may be in spirit. They may have moved away. They may be living elsewhere or travelling, although it's unlikely. Not many people are really travelling at the moment. So also sending love to everyone who is in lockdown, or has just gone into lockdown or is still in it after all this time. I really feel for you. We're very lucky here. We haven't had lockdown since June, quite early in June. I think we came out of it, and we haven't really had any cases here since. So I guess that's one advantage of having an island state. So sending you loads of love. Okay, so let's get some cards out here. So let me see how I'm going to lay the cards down. We're going to go straight down the middle in like an arrow that's pointing up, for those of you who are interested in the way or the layout that I'm going for, which I see in my mind's eye. So I'm doing an arrowhead and down, cards down the spine of the arrow. So let's see what happens. What time did I say it is? It's 10:30, no, sorry, it's 10:28 at the moment, AM. Okay, so let's turn over these cards, and we'll see what comes up. Woo! Okay, looks like we're in for an intense start to the week. Okay, yes. We've got a pretty intense start to the week by the look of it. Okay. Sorry, I'm just getting a message there, just making sure it's nothing urgent. Okay, so let's start. Monday, we have card 42, the Tree Maiden. So just see how this fits for you. The Tree Maiden, it says endings, surrender, growth, and illumination. So this talks about the start of the week potentially being quite potent. It might be represented by things being blown out of proportion, or at this sense of things being under the magnifying glass and things seeming louder and bigger, scarier, but perhaps even more beautiful. Is it really more beautiful than what they really are? Maybe just scarier or bigger than what they really are. You know, when we tend to make a molehill, turn a molehill into a mountain. So there is this sense of intensity and things becoming quite loud on Monday. And the reason for this is to try and get our attention. Something's trying to show us that it's not quite right, that this relationship's a bit off, that this workplace environment is not supportive for us, that this situation where we find ourselves may not be quite right for us. So if things seem amplified and loud on Monday, we're being encouraged to pay attention to it. It's trying to get our attention. So let's really think about how we feel about it, how long we've been dealing with the uncomfortable situation or this situation that's felt a bit off. This is why I love my journal too, because if a situation feels a bit off, and it might just be temporary, you know, it might just be a sort of one-off thing. So I'll usually make a note of it in my journal, and if I'm questioning it or I'm not sure about it, or if I don't know if it really fits with me anymore, I will usually make a note to reflect on it in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months from that point. Because I want to notice if I still feel the same way in 1 month or 2 months or 3 months or whatever the situation, then I've got to do something about it. So I don't want to be in a complaining mode or a situation that doesn't support me anymore for too long. Because I think we can really forget, and we might catch ourselves a year, 5 years later, where we're still in a situation, a workplace, an environment, a relationship that may not be right for us anymore. So there is this feeling of something being loud, something being amplified early in the week to try and get our attention. So we're being encouraged to listen. And there is endings with this card. So it might highlight some things about ourselves, some things about our life that require the door closing on now. So it can be a bit confronting, this card, especially if we've been avoiding something for a while. So this card also brings growth. So as we allow the door to close, as we feel, yeah, okay, this situation actually, it hasn't been right for a while, I need to close this door. After we come to that conclusion, once we feel that, if that's what we need to do, then there is growth that's coming to from that card and this energy. So it brings growth as we find the courage to close doors in our life that require it. But it will only be from things that are loud. Now this card is specifically for Monday, so as we start the week, as we start the month, this sort of amplification. And then we've got 2 cards on either side. We've got these 2 on either side of the Tree Maiden. So I feel these are extending from the Tree Maiden card. So I feel these are extensions, maybe more information too around whatever's been amplified or blown out of proportion. And these also may be the energies that are carrying us into the rest of the week. There is intensity coming. This feels to be an intense week, at least for the first 5 days or so. So we'll get more into that in a minute. But let's talk about these cards and see where these fit. This is the Chameleon. The Chameleon is card 3, and it says to give it your full attention. So if this is talking about whatever's amplified, whatever's magnified, whatever's been blown out of proportion right now, whatever we're feeling intensely, let's stop ignoring it. Because the more we ignore it, the louder it's going to become. So this card, the Chameleon's reminding us to focus fully on what is being amplified, what is being blown out of proportion. What do we need to investigate further in regards to how we feel and what we want in this situation? So this is focus on and give attention to what is amplified. With that amplification aside, if you're not really feeling it, you might be a bit like me and deal with things as they come up, which is what I do. I don't particularly feel, at least now, the morning of Monday, I don't feel things are really amplified for me personally, but I tend to deal with things, I naturally deal with things, or have taught myself to deal with things as they happen. so they don't get to that sort of dire, amplified, intense space mostly. So I'm not feeling that yet. So for those of us that don't really feel that amplifying intense energy, we're being encouraged to focus on the things that, well, what I'm noticing, the things that our body needs on Monday, and to give full attention to our body, how we feel, and what we need to focus on. So there might be things that we need to tend to, things that we need to do that need our full attention. So let's be careful we're not being distracted early in the week as well, and give whatever we're doing our fullest attention. There is also this card that's coming in, which is the Scattered card, card 13. And it says overwhelm, confusion, concentrate, and plan. This brings an unruly, scattered, chaotic energy too for early in the week. So mix that with intensity, and some of us may be feeling quite unsettled and quite intense energy early this week. So the scattered energy talks about things being a little bit crazy, chaotic, confusing. We may not know where we stand with something, and then that's blown out of proportion and that's intensified. So there is this kind of relationship, we could say, between this and the intensity energy, the intense energy. So this is not a bad card though, because it's actually showing and bringing new energy in. So it's showing that, you know, there is a primal force at play here that's bringing new energy in as and if and when we find courage to close old doors, though the doors on expired parts of our life that aren't working anymore and haven't for a while. So as we let that happen, it actually is preparing to bring this new energy in. This is raw energy. This is the blank canvas that feels a bit unsettling because things are changing with this. And sometimes that puts us out of our comfort zone. So if you're noticing this kind of chaotic, scattered energy, it might be really helpful to create a doable plan, just something you can simply do today, something you can simply do tomorrow as you're in the day. Just something simple, doable. Don't overbook yourself as this energy runs its course. So it may be present for a day or two coming through. So that's early in the week, Monday into Tuesday. So then we'll talk about Wednesday here. So this is Wednesday the 3rd of February. We have the Tiger Claw, which is card 40, and it says to stand your ground, speak up, or speak your truth, take action, and courage. So this is about getting our claws into something that has been a bit off. So this is about clearing the air. It's about standing our ground. It's about speaking up about something that we've been quiet on for a while. And we might find that with the intense energy and the chaotic, confusing, sort of unruly energy that's stirring up early in the week, we may find that we get fed up with things, that we've just got to say something, that we just have to clear the air. So there is an assertive feeling that's coming through around Wednesday. But we might find as we sit in the intensity, as we sit in the chaos and the new energy that wants to come in, and we give it our fullest attention, we might find this card potentially for Wednesday. This might come into later Monday. This might come into Tuesday. If we're holding in the intensity and we're ignoring it, then this card might not be in effect until Thursday or Friday. So it sort of feels like it depends on how much we are listening to the intensity as the observer as best as we can. So whenever this card comes up and this energy comes up for you, you might feel this kind of surge of assertiveness where you've just got to clear the air and you've just got to say something. Even if it's really difficult to say, because there is this sense of something that's brewing, something that's stirring inside. A truth, a feeling, something that needs to rise up and likely be spoken. If you're not sure how to communicate it yet with the person that you need to communicate it with, then it may help to write down your thoughts and feelings in your journal, sort of get clearer, get a bit of sense of your intensity and what you want, what you feel, so that you're a little better prepared when you go into that situation where you're required to speak up. You might find that helpful. But there is action in this card, there is courage, and there is assertiveness. So I feel like some of us might get a bit of a fire under our backside, and we just want to sort of step up, speak up, and step into that assertive, active energy. So there's a lot brewing here early in the week. And then we move into around Thursday, because it really is going to depend on how we're embracing this intensity early in the week or not. Around Thursday, the 4th of February, we have Ammonite, card 38. And it says that it's time to clear private issues. So things that we've been bottling up, things that we've been keeping private, things that we've been tolerating behind closed doors, things that we've been crying about behind closed doors. We may find that we need to clear these things. Now, because this comes right next to this card, which is about feeling that energy, but this is about getting it out, it's about clearing the air, this is about the assertive action that we need to take, whereas this is about clearing it privately. So we might find that we want to assertively speak about some of the things that we've been feeling, but there might be a whole bunch of other stuff that we've also been dealing with and want to continue to deal with privately. So there's a difference between bottling something up privately or listening and dealing with something privately. So bottling up is just cramming all that energy down inside. And sometimes we do that for years, for decades, and then it's like a volcano erupts and all this stuff that we've been bottling up, the lid blows and everything sort of blasts out. That's not the most ideal way of dealing with things. So if you tend to bottle things up, it might be really important. Again, I'm going to mention the journal, to find a way to connect with what you're feeling. You don't have to, just because you're feeling something, you don't have to broadcast it everywhere and to everyone. Most people aren't going to really care about how we feel. And that doesn't matter. We're the ones that need to care about how we feel. So things like your journal, things like creative expression, body movement, exercise, building things that you can do privately gets that inner energy that you've been hopefully not storing, but that's been brewing inside. It helps get that energy out. So around Thursday, it's about looking at our private issues and clearing them out. All that stuff that you've had bottled up, it's time to take the lid off and deal with it before it turns toxic and rancid in your body and in your life situations, because it will reflect out there. So this is about breaking down that hard outer shell and releasing the things that we've been bottling up. And we may want to keep them private, and that's okay to keep them private. Use some way of expressing it though. You know, if you're in the car driving by yourself, have a conversation with yourself. Do whatever you need to do constructively and safely to express how you're feeling inside. You can't keep things bottled up for long. The lid will blow, the volcano will erupt, and that's always messy. So that's around Thursday, and then that takes us into Friday, the 5th of February. And we have the Raven, and the Raven is actually our card for the day. You may have already seen if you're in my Temple of Balance group, and it will pop up on the page later today. But this is our card for Monday too. And it's card 17, the Raven. And the Raven says to face your shadow with honesty. So things may be revealed this week that may not be comfortable. They may not be nice. They might be things about ourselves and ways we've been dealing with things, or things we've been doing that we may realize this week are not healthy, they're not supportive, they may even be destructive towards others or ourselves. So it feels like a reality check this week that might be a bit hard to swallow, but we've been encouraged to face it, to look at it, and it's time to shift those old cobwebs, those old shadows that we've been carrying with us for a long time. So there is opportunity for healing, for deep healing of our shadow side, our fear, our insecurities this week, and have courage to face this side of ourselves. So see what I mean about how intense this week is potentially going to be. And this is leading us up till Friday, and then the weekend feels like it feels like a breath of fresh air, where finally we can take a break, we can get some relief, where that pressure that's been building and building and building for so long, that maybe that has been expressed or been released by the time the weekend comes, because we're looking at Saturday. We've got Sacred Haven card 5, and Sacred Haven says gratitude, connect, reflect and stand still. And there is a feeling of being able to stop, feel a sense, even if it's slight, a sense of relief, release, and this ability to be able to stop and smell the roses. It's a bit like a feeling of the storm passing, and Saturday morning the sun comes out and the ground's all damp, and there is this feeling within us potentially about that, in that sort of way, where it's like the storm's past, the energy feels like it's calmer, and we can stop and count our blessings. Look at how far we've come and what storm we have just overcome in the days previous. So this is about starting the weekend with gratitude, standing still and really appreciating where we are and who we share our life with and what we have experienced, those fond memories. And then for Sunday, we have the same card we had last Sunday, which was actually yesterday, as I'm recording this, maybe even today for you. But this is for Sunday, the 7th of February, and it's the Rabbit card 16. The Rabbit says to make your move. So there is a feeling of getting started again. There's a feeling of the ball starting to roll again. There's a feeling of, you know, if we were driving a vehicle this week, it's probably going to be accelerator straight to the floor, and, you know, this fast pace, very intense, almost scary at times, probably, like fearful, during this first part of the week. And then by the time Saturday comes, it feels like we're ready to put the brakes on and things sort of stop, and we sort of stop and sit in the energy a little bit of the calm, the aftermath, the being in the moment again. And then it feels like Sunday, it's like getting the vehicle back into first gear and starting to get the ball rolling again. And it may be a new direction that we're going, but it will definitely be leaving the stormy cloud parts of our life, the fear, a lot of that, leaving that behind, because I can feel the storm travelling off into the distance, and we put our foot on the accelerator on Sunday and go in the opposite direction to the storm. We don't need to keep chasing the storm around and keeping the stormy parts of our life active and alive and well. So I feel this week is opportunity for a lot of us to close old doors, to release some stuff we've been holding on to, and to allow ourselves to detach from the stormy parts of our life. So the stormy parts of your life may be connected with fear, may be connected with your insecurities, your limitations, and those really heavy, harsh, sharp, problematic areas of your life that you've been dealing with for a while. So on Sunday, we're ready to make our move. We may feel scared, we may feel petrified, like this scaredy rabbit is, because that's the way it acts. Sometimes we act from that space, or we take action from that space. You know, it's like anger. I find anger a great motivator, as long as it's been released and expressed in a constructive way, not destructive or harmful. But anger is so motivating. It can get us to make decisions and make changes that we wouldn't usually do. So, you know, that anger, that frustration, what is it trying to push you into? What is it trying to bring about in your life that you usually wouldn't have the courage to do? So making our move, action for Sunday. So we have quite an intense, potentially intense lead up to Friday this week. So what I would suggest is really sitting in the intensity. Do your best to be the observer. So try to step back a little bit from the drama or the stormy parts of your life that may be quite loud and quite stormy, quite battering early in the week. See if you can step back a bit and look at the bigger picture. Maybe connect with your journal to express yourself, or find other ways to express in a safe way that's not necessarily, you know, speaking and broadcasting things to everybody. but sit with it. Sit with how you feel and let the energy flow. Let it move, because it's going to move. If it feels stuck or stagnant, or you're beholding in the intensity, then you're not, most likely not listening to how you feel. So remember, your feelings are emotions. They want to be in motion. So let your feeling move to the next feeling and the next feeling. Let yourself, give yourself permission to be able to move on. Give yourself permission to be able to move on, and whatever that means for you. So how can you move on? Is it time for you to move on? Are you ready to move on? If it's something new, you're probably not going to be ready to move on yet, and that's okay. But if this has been something you've been dealing with for a long time, can you give yourself permission to move on? To make your move, to move on. So I trust this resonates, and let's be really gentle with ourselves during the stormy parts of this week. So thank you so much for joining me. I am going to pull a card to go, or a card for the theme rather. So I'll do that in just a minute. First of all, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. If you have enjoyed this connection, please hit the thumbs up button. Please show us some love. Please comment or share if you're inspired to. And if you would love to connect more privately, please send us an email through our website. I have our 12-hour healing event coming up on Thursday. That's this Thursday, the 4th of February. And our focus is on heart. So if you would like to dive deeply into your heart for healing, then you might find that really helpful and supportive for you. So please have a look on my website at templeofbalance.com.au. You can follow the prompts to learn more or register for the 12-hour healing event on Thursday. If you would love to learn more about me and the work I do at Temple of Balance, please visit templeofbalance.com.au. I am going to be in for another video today. It will be day 3 as we prepare for the heart healing event on Thursday. So I will be doing that a bit later at some point. So keep an eye out for that. So I'm shuffling my cards here and I'm holding the intention. I want to find the best card for the theme for this week. So we've got a pretty potentially intense week coming up, or especially up until Friday, potentially. So this card's going to help give us an overview and a sense of the bigger picture for this week ahead. So the best card the majority of us need for the theme for the 1st to the 7th of February is this here. Okay, well this has just increased the intensity because this is card 36 called Shadow. This is the equivalent to the Raven. It is also the equivalent to the Tree Maiden. So we have almost a combination of those coming up for our theme. So this has just now taken the intensity potential up a notch. It says, it's card 36 called Shadow, and it says shape-shifting, hidden, release, and raven. This brings intensity, it brings facing our fear, our shadows, just like those 2 cards I pointed out that have also come up for this week. A great thing about this card is it shows that there is a shift, a potential shift in the heavy, harsh, shadowy, difficult energy that we've been facing. I remember this is one of the few drawings that I drew that I felt so frustrated and so angry, so intense. I was crying when I was drawing this. It was stirring up so much stuff. The eyes in here at some point felt like screaming faces. There was just so much in this that was building up when I was making it, when I was creating it. And then suddenly the sun came out. In fact, it's a lot like what I was talking about. For Saturday, it's like the storm passing. So this shows the intensity. It shows the frustration, the anger, the fear we're probably going to be feeling this week. But then it shifts. We have to be willing to let it shift. We could hold ourselves in it and it will last all week and probably into the weeks to come. So the intensity here is so strong, it feels like it's off the charts potentially. But there is also great potential in this storm. There's great potential in these shadows. Because as those screaming faces changed when I drew this picture, the sun came out and it started casting light calmness, opportunity onto the darkness that was there before. The mouth was covered. Nothing could be spoken when I first drew this picture. And then the mouth started emerging. The light started to come out and radiate. The screaming faces started to change into pinpoints of light. So there is potential for that intensity I've already talked about, but for it to shift. So let's remember to let it shift. Let's let that intensity move on this week. Let's feel it. Let's give it our fullest attention. Let's get through the day as best as we can. Let's work with our tools like our journal, our cards, our things like that. And let's let that energy shift. So good luck. Best wishes for this week. And let's find the courage to drop into the darkness so we can bring the light into the darker areas of our life. So, yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great week. Happy birthday, happy anniversary if you're celebrating. And, yeah, I'll see you soon. I'll see you later today. So we'll do some healing connection today on my Facebook page. Take care of yourself. And goodbye for now. Thank you so much.